Hi, my name is Bussey and I'd like to tell you a little bit about the course I teach, Education for Liberation. Now, first of all, I'd like to make it clear that this is not a course just for teachers. Education is understood through Prout as a social, cultural process. It takes place wherever people come together in collectives. Of course, it does have a place within school systems, so educators are well placed to actually take the principles of Education for Liberation and try them out in classrooms and school contexts. But anybody working in an institution, anybody working even within a family, is also in a position to take the principles of Education for Liberation and apply them to that context. Why? Well, because contexts are humanly created and maintained expressions of consciousness. Institutions tend to maintain consciousness. When you enter an institution, the institution of the family, the institution of school, the institution of a business, of government, doesn't matter where you are, that institution will immediately set about educating you, inducting you into that context. Education for Liberation suggests that we are not necessarily passive in that process. We can challenge it. We can also, when we are actually part of an institution, we can actually facilitate positive human values within context, and these can become part of the consciousness backdrop of the institution. This is an educational process. It's not simply a process of socialising or a behaviourist type of thing where, you know, carrots and sticks tend to get people to jump through the hoops. It actually becomes a much more humanly engaging process. And good institutions, thoughtful institutions, are very aware of this. You can go to any number of institutions which offer courses that induct people into the general mores of an institution. What are its values? What is its purpose? How do you find meaning? All this is linked to educational processes. You can think about it at school. In a classroom, what are the values in the classroom? What is the purpose of being in the classroom? Different schools give different readings on these kinds of questions, but they are all ultimately human questions. So in the course, Education for Liberation, people are first of all led to understand that their contexts are open and that they are constantly involved in an educative flow. Now, to transform this, to liberate oneself and one's consciousness from the confines of a context, of an institutional context, is key to actually finding one's own agency and self-worth, and to actually also transforming one's reading of that context. So with the course, I like to get people, first of all, to profile their context, to look for the points of leverage or entry where educational processes can be initiated. I then encourage them to design programs that will lead that process on in a conscious but also reflective way. I involve them in critique. Critique is actually just an assessment of the quality of the relationships that define our working lives, and those working lives, of course, are within the family in our personal context, but also in institutional work context. And once all of that's done, reflect, go through the discipline of thinking about education as a work-life process, go through the resources available to us in rethinking that. It is an academic course, there are academic expectations, but essentially it's go back, reflect, go back to context, reflect, dance that for as much as you can during the course, and ultimately produce a piece of work that is a template for you to engage with Education for Liberation, and two, a piece of reflective work that will lead you through, and me through as the teacher, through what it took for you to achieve the ultimate goal of Education for Liberation. Thank you.